All right. So welcome everybody. I'm Barb's, the owner and Patty course director for Malibu Divers, and I'm your speaker tonight. And I'm going to talk about the iPhone housing from Oceanic. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have a few videos. I don't have a ton of slides. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Can everybody see my screen okay? Yeah?
Yes.
Cool. So I may switch screens and have to ask you again. So it started shipping the Oceanic Plus with the Oceanic camera housing just this past week. They were waiting on iOS 17 that just came out, and it's been in beta about 3 or 4 months. So if you're already love your iPhone, especially taking photos and videos on it, anything you can do with your photos and videos with your iPhone today, you're going to be able to do with the dive housing. So the housing does not limit your ability to get to the features of your iPhone for photos and videos. So that's pretty exciting. If you look at other products out there, there are other competitive iPhone housings from other companies. They tend to limit, they are more controlled by the housing than they are by the phone. So there are some limitations. The other thing I'm going to just mention is that there's this integrated, what do you call it, vacuum pump, which I'll talk more about. And I think that's a really nice feature as well. So it's larger than I thought, but then again, the phones just keep getting bigger and bigger. So of course the housing has to be bigger than the phone. So moving right along, I'm not going to put it in presentation mode right now. Can you all see that well enough? Yeah. So when you get the Oceanic iPhone housing, comes in a nice box. It's really packaged nice, has a nice look and feel to how everything's been put together. It comes with a nice case. You can see it's utilizing the camera features. So that's about it as far as packaging. The dive housing will actually act as sort of a secondary backup computer with the Oceanic Plus app. So it'll give you your basic depth and elapsed time, which is kind of nice. I'm just going to switch for 1 second to, actually, let me go back to this one. And I am going to put it in presentation mode and play this video. Hopefully it'll play. And is there sound?
When you share screen, you got to tell to enable sharing audio. So stop sharing screen, go back up, and I think on the lower part of the panel, when it asks you, it will have a toggle for sharing sound.
Huh. Okay. Thanks, Fran. So the toggle. I already toggled it to.
When you activate share screen and you select the window you want to share, there should be a switch that says share computer audio. Are you trying to share screen?
I am.
And you're not seeing a toggle?
No.
No.
No toggle on.
Should be there.
Share sound. Let's see if that made a difference. Thanks, you guys, for being patient for 1 sec.
Imagine that once-in-a-lifetime encounter.
Working.
Who's going to believe you? Imagine capturing that perfect moment to tell your story. Imagine not losing sight of your dive parameters while taking that perfect shot. Imagine sharing your adventures in an instant with family and friends. Oceanic Plus Dive Housing. Your dive, your story.
So the quality obviously is pretty amazing. I think, I don't know why it's frozen on this one. Okay, so just move on. So now obviously you can use your iPhone as both a camera as well as a dive computer. The interface, the basic Oceanic Plus interface is free. So everyone can like literally go to, and I did this just a little while ago. If you go to the Apple Store, can you guys see that? Yeah. At the App Store, it's when you put in Oceanic, it'll bring up Oceanic Plus Dive Computer Watch. And it's because it's the same app, both for the watch and the housing. You come here and you can download it to your Apple device, your cell phone, right? And then just FYI, if you opt for the subscription, there's a whole bunch of options, which we'll talk a little bit more. You can even try it out for 99 cents 1 day. So if you're not diving that much, you can do that. So that's kind of cool. What else? Also with the subscription model, it has really advanced photo editing, but the basic free model has auto color correction, which, I think most people, that's what they're going to use, right? And the fact that you can have both your watch, if you have the Ultra version of watch, the Apple Watch Ultra, both devices can use the exact same subscription. So that's kind of nice too. And you can do a family plan with up to 5 people on it. And each of them can have 2 devices. So then it's got some info here about the weight of it and stuff like that. It's really been well designed. It feels like a very Apple kind of device. So they obviously had a lot of influence over it. To look at the dive housing a little bit more, another very cool feature is that it provides these really cool step-by-step instructions in the app, to the point of like when you're onboarding your cell phone, your iPhone into it, it walks you through exactly what you have to do on the screen. And that way you can't make a mistake. I was very concerned because one of the things that we're thinking about is we have a bunch of these in stock right now, which I'll talk more about, but we also are probably going to put one into our rental department. And if you rent it and decide you want it, then you can turn around and buy it and apply your rental towards the housing. So, but I was worried about if something leaks or breaks and what have you, and it seems pretty bulletproof in terms of the step-by-step directions, which is pretty cool. It also does integrated depth and temperature. Obviously, nobody's going to 196 feet, but it does go there. The lenses are great. It's got rechargeable lithium batteries. Your Bluetooth interface Obviously you're going to put your phone into airplane mode and you're going to activate Bluetooth to the housing. One little caution that they let me know about is, that's what you do, but really the housing with the Oceanic Plus software application is actually where you set up and pair the cell phone to the housing. You don't pair the cell phone to the housing, you pair the housing to the cell phone. Probably too much detail, but that's how that works. And it's actually compatible with iOS 16 and above. So, as well as the older version of iPhone SE 2nd generation and newer. It's got the standard accessory attachments. So if you have 1/4" 20 UNC threads on your trays or whatever poles, then those will all work with the dive housing itself. Okay, any questions on that? All right. One thing, I mentioned the vacuum pump is integrated. It actually it's rechargeable, and it's estimated that it can go 100 hours without being recharged. So it's got a pretty long usage on the automatic vacuum pump before that even needs to be recharged. And the other thing that I noticed is the housing itself has a really nice grip to it. It's like, I find that the GoPros, yeah, they're fun and all that, and they're small, but I have a lot of trouble, even with my small hands, operating the small little buttons. So I like the feel of the housing. And if you're like me and you take a lot of photos or videos, you like to have something very stable in your hand. The dive housing feels very comfortable in my hand, even by itself without a tray. Okay, so as far as the dive computer option, again, if you're getting the free version, you're just getting the depth and elapsed time. But if you do the subscription, it has a lot of the standard dive computer features. So you won't be disappointed in that. If you didn't do the subscription, maybe you use just depth and elapsed time as kind of a backup, because it's kind of nice when you're shooting to be able to see that without having to refer back and forth to your computer. So there is a benefit to kind of have that ease of use and tracking of your dive profile. But if you do want to use it as a dive computer, now you can even have more information on the screen. The screen's customizable in terms of what it is you want to see and where it appears. And then there's lots of options even within that, like the gradient factors for how it calculates decompression. You can have it go ahead and do conservative, or maybe something that's a little bit more liberal. It's the compass in particular is pretty impressive. I know with my current dive computer, wrist computer, it does a compass, but it's kind of jerky, and even on this one, the compass, if you move like 1 degree, it's sensitive and it's smooth the way it moves. You can download your logbook, which is pretty cool. Oceanic has their own logbook feature if you want to use that. Otherwise, you can download it to any other standard logbook, Patty's, SSI, or maybe you have your own. The other cool thing is it's also recording your GPS. So yeah, that's available to you too. And then I don't know how people feel about this, but you can go ahead and share your information online. So, the good thing is that your friends, if they didn't log their dive or, whatever, or maybe, they were in a different part of the dive, you can see what they saw, and not see what they saw. If they upload their photos, of course, but their dive profile, you can get details about that. You can also look at, maybe you're going to a site, let's say at Catalina or Anacapa. You can look at what other people have recorded, what the temperature was, what the viz, whatever, right? And so they're trying to create more of this eco community around this information. So that's an option. Okay. And don't forget, it also does free diving as well as scuba. Let's see, let me just move something here. But the net is, why are we getting the housing and why do we want to put our iPhone into it? It's because it's all about the photos and videos. And here's a nice little display about, here it's showing you depth and time. So that's just the way it would look with the free app, okay? A couple of features that I really like is it's got, with the subscription mode, it's got a smart mode. And that smart mode will allow you to auto capture a photo every so many seconds. And it's entirely user friendly. You can set it up on, maybe you say every 10 seconds, maybe you say every 30 seconds, right? Whatever it is you wanted to set that up for, but it's kind of a cool feature to both be capturing photo and video at the same time, and at this kind of quality. Most iPhones, I think I looked at the iPhone 15, it has about 128 gigabytes on it that comes standard on it. You might want to up that if you're really going to be using your iPhone to capture a lot of video. One of the guys I talked to about this, he's got a 2 terabyte storage on his iPhone. So, again, the dive information will overlay onto it. And again, you can remove it, or you can take advantage of some of the features. Again, the free mode is color correction, paid mode, a lot more professional things. And then the other thing that people are adding now are underwater lights to it. It looks like it, it really does a good job taking into account low lighting situations. But if you do want to add a light, obviously that helps a lot. What was suggested to me, and I think it's a good idea, is the Big Blue has a nice tray called the 27, and it's also got a 4200 light that has been recommended, both of which we can help you out with. Any raw and compressed formats, white balance, if you guys know what that all is, it does all that. Okay, next slide. So this is a photo that was done with an iPhone 14 with no lights. Series of photos. Again, just standard iPhone 14 in a macro setup. Nothing special. All those features that are available through your iPhone are available through the housing. So another photo, just some kelp locally. Movement on that one. And nice little lingcod and blenny local stuff. All right. Just a little bit more about the features of the Oceanic Plus with the dive housing. It's kind of nice. You can see all your dives in one location because of the dive computer feature. You can check the weather, the water temperature from this social media kind of influence kind of thing that happens when you share your information. When you generate content, you can share it. And then like I said, you can export it to logbooks. One thing is that it's rather easy to pop the iPhone into it. And because it has a step-by-step onboarding process to close it up, vacuum pump it, all of that, it's not a big deal to take it out in between dives. So you can go ahead and check your messages. You know, let's say you forgot to charge your phone and you're going to be out of the water for an hour. Go ahead and charge it up. If it's less than 40% charged, the housing will not let you dive with it. It'll say you don't have your phone needs to be charged. So neither the housing nor the dive computer option will work. So it's always checking to make sure that everything's ready to go to make it work for you underwater. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. In the free mode of the app, don't forget it's only gauge mode, which gives you elapsed dive time and depth. All right, next slide. Again, you do get with the free version of Oceanic Plus to save your photos and videos, your logbook, and auto color correct photos and videos. So it's kind of cool. You can save your dive profile with your little graph of your dive profile right onto a photo. So that's kind of special. Photo 3 is with the paid subscription. Obviously, a lot more color correction, all kinds of editing tools, stuff like that. One of the things I harp about with my students is keep track of how much weight you wore and what you were wearing at the time. Well, it's got a nice little feature in this dive computer mode where it allows you to now record all that information, you know. So that's probably Barbara's favorite feature for her students. I'm tired of people walking in asking me, how much weight should I wear? I'm like, why aren't you writing this down? You can also choose between compressed and raw formats. And then, of course, you have advanced editing tools for those. And you can also choose the recording quality all the way up to 4K, depending upon which iPhone model you're using. And again, you know, if you're really going to be capturing stuff at this high resolution and lots of photos, you really might consider adding a little bit more storage on your iPhone, okay, than what comes with it standard. I'm not going to go into a lot of depth on this, unless you guys want to, about raw and compressed formats. Obviously, it can handle it. And then I did mention it does white balance. Grant, can you let them in? Or do I need to? I don't know if I can.
Not seeing it. I'm not a co-host.
Okay. I just heard somebody trying to come in. So this is kind of a synopsis of the dive housing features. Let's see. Again, I guess the take-home message really is if the iPhone itself has a feature, then it can be utilized. It does go up to 40% nitrox compatible, so there is a little bit of a limitation there, but not much for most divers. It does use this Bluetooth keypad. We'll take a little closer look at that. I love the automated vacuum pump. I think that's cool. You know, anything that's separate for me, either I lose it or I break it. So the fact that it's integrated right into the housing is pretty cool. And yeah, ultra wide lenses. And that smart mode is pretty cool, being able to capture a photo and a video at the same time. It's very clean, the way it's laid out. kind of where you'd expect buttons to be. This is the automated vacuum pump on the bottom here. But I love the design of it and the big squared off kind of profile to it. And this over molded rubber grip to me is a really nice feature. What else? When this is incorrect, by the way, this 3/8 inch, it's really that 1/4 20. So that's a little typo, but otherwise, same thing on the back side of the camera. Very simplistic, very well designed. It's got this like, the phone just slides in and there's a bumper. It's not like you have to cut and fit foam into it to make it work or anything like that. It's very simplistic in terms of how it all comes together. And like I said, then it has that step-by-step onboarding process that it walks you through. These are the iPhones it's compatible with. Quite a long list. They must run iOS 16 and above. And if you, well, you can be assured that Oceanic Plus has told me that, you know, going forward, obviously they're going to continue to support the next versions. What else did they say? I think that's pretty much it on that. Yeah. All right. So I want to show this video that they put together, and I think it's pretty good. It's only about 8.5 minutes, and hopefully it plays well.
Oceanic Plus dive housing for your iPhone. So this case will not only let you take your iPhone up to 60 meters underwater, but it will also allow you to turn your iPhone into a dive computer. You may remember hearing about Oceanic during the Apple Watch Ultra keynote, where they announced the Apple Watch will now be able to act as a dive computer. And since then, I have recently started diving a few months ago, and I owe it all to this Apple Watch right here. Now, when you're diving, you definitely do want to have at least 2 dive computers, just to be sure, in case something happens to one of them. Now, what sets this apart from some other dive housing for your iPhone is this has so many various features all built into one. So this has an automatic vacuum pump that creates a super tight seal around your iPhone. This will help prevent any water from entering the housing while you're diving. The integrated leak detector alerts you if there is any moisture detected. This also will act as a dive computer, like I said, but the Oceanic Plus interface is where this really shines. This is an incredible interface that gives you the ability to take photos, videos. There's a smart capture mode that will take video and photos at the same time. You can record raw and compressed formats to take advantage of recording in the highest quality your iPhone is capable of. It has white point correction for depth adaptive adjustment, so as you're diving into deeper depths, the colors start to change. This will automatically apply the correct white balance correction so your photos and videos will look more accurate. Now, all of these photos are saved directly to your iPhone camera roll, so as soon as you hop out of the water, you will have access to them. But what makes this unique is inside of the Oceanic Plus app, you're able to view the gallery of all of your content that you've shot, and what's so awesome about this is you can scroll through here and you can see right on this depth map where you shot the photos, what the location was, and this just adds a whole nother element of metadata to these photos. Like, you can actually see the water temperature when you took your photo or video. I mean, that is pretty awesome. They also have some advanced color correction, so when you go into the gallery, you can edit your media directly in the app. For most of these photos, I just used the automatic color adjustment, and it did such a great job of really creating a vibrant look out of these underwater photos. And that's kind of the hard thing, is when you are diving into deeper depths, the color changes so significantly. This takes into account what depth you're at, so it can automatically color those photos and videos for you.
At Vistaprint, we can get your brand into your customers' hands, or their heads, or their backs.
Now, the setup on this was super simple. So the first thing that you have to do is you open it up and you make sure that it is all completely dried out and there's no extra water inside. Especially if you're on a boat while you're setting this up, be extra careful. So the first thing you'll notice is it gives you a pre-dive checklist. So you want to make sure your Bluetooth is on, the housing is connected, the housing battery level is above 40, your phone is above 40, and airplane mode is on, and also be sure to turn on Do Not Disturb. The reason for this is you don't want notifications popping up while you're trying to interact with the interface. Because this connects to Bluetooth, you're able to interact using these buttons. There's 4 right here, and you have the trigger button up here to start and stop videos and take photos. This is the professional way to clean your phone. A little belly action, a little thigh. Okay, so we're gonna open up the Oceanic Plus app, and then we're gonna hit this button. We're gonna go scuba, in we go. Continuing through the setup, you'll then open the lower valve cap, confirm that the vacuum cap is opened. So this little slot right here is where you're gonna put the desiccant bag, and they do recommend changing this with each dive. I didn't change it for each dive, but I did change it each day, and everything seemed to work really well. Next is the fun part. Time to put the iPhone in. Do make sure that it is all the way to the left side so that you'll get a good fit. Next, we're gonna close the lid, and when you twist this, it'll lock your iPhone into place. And now you no longer have to touch your iPhone because the phone is connected to the housing, so you can use the buttons to control the interface. So you hit next, and this is the fun part. This is where the automatic vacuum procedure starts. And what's cool about this is you'll see the progress, and it'll then give you a 5-minute countdown to make sure that the seal is secure. This takes about 5 minutes, but I love that this is a safety check just to make sure before you dive to know that your iPhone is safely and secure inside of the housing. Now, once you're underwater though, this is where the experience just feels so intuitive. You're getting that same incredible video quality, photo quality, but under the water. Now, when you're underwater, you have the ability to change all of these settings on the fly, which is pretty awesome because there were definitely some times where I decided to switch from 30 frames per second into 60, into photo, then to smart capture. It's also cool because if you happen to be at a decompression stop, you can go into the gallery and you can look at your content that you've already filmed, which is pretty cool. The other thing that I really like is obviously being able to have my Apple Watch as a dive computer, but if I'm looking through my phone while I'm capturing content, that is kind of like a secondary device where I can see my depth. It basically is like a mini Apple Watch app, but right there on the overlay of the screen. So you don't have to worry about looking at your watch. So you can not only focus on your content, but also be aware of what's happening with your dive. So this is what the dive computer overlay looks like on the iPhone. And if you want to get some more information, you can open this up and it looks exactly like it does on the Apple Watch. And I'd love for me, since I do have my Apple Watch Ultra, having this as a, well, actually it would be my 3rd device because I also have another dive computer as well. This is going to be so cool for people who may not have an Apple Watch Ultra and they want to have a secondary device. You can now use your iPhone as one. This is compatible with iOS 16 and above, and here are all of the phones that it is compatible with, which is actually a surprising number of iPhones, so it's pretty exciting if you do have an older device, you can still use this as well. And of course, I mean, there is a new iPhone coming out soon, so you better believe that I will be taking this thing out as soon as I get myself a new phone. So the whole experience while I was underwater was unbelievable, and of course, coming to a place like this where the water temperatures are warm and just the sights are unbelievable. There's so many fish, the reef is incredible. incredible. My favorite dive that we did though was going to the shipwreck, and it was unreal to be just floating through a shipwreck that I don't know how long it's been there. Thankfully, we had an incredible dive guide who really helped me, since I am a newer diver, really be comfortable with all of my gear, my equipment, and feeling confident enough to cruise through the shipwreck. And even the videos that I'm showing you guys right here, it doesn't feel like I was actually there. Like, it feels like it was a dream. But thankfully, I had my iPhone underwater and I was able to capture some really great shots for you. Now, obviously, just using your iPhone on a daily basis drains the battery. So you can imagine that after doing several dives, the battery on your iPhone will start getting low. So if you are doing multiple dives in a day, make sure you charge your phone during those surface intervals so you'll be able to have a fully charged battery for your next dive. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll put a link in the description where you can check out the new Oceanic Plus dive housing. This was so much fun to dive with, and I cannot wait to get back out there. If you guys haven't already, please like and leave me a comment below where you think I should dive next, because this was the place that you guys told me that I should go next, and now that I'm here, where is the next destination? Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos, because it is officially iPhone season, so I'll be posting a ton of tech videos here in the next upcoming months. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys maybe in another dive destination. Peace.
All right. What'd you guys think of that? Interesting, exciting?
She's too
Questions?
cheerful.
I'm
Too
gonna open
cheerful.
it up. Too cheerful? She only has 7 million followers. So, yeah, I think, it's sad I don't have an iPhone. I almost want an iPhone. I've already asked Oceanic if they're going to come out with an Android version. And, it depends, right? Maybe, maybe not. So, yeah. And here's the thing. If you guys decide that you want to get an iPhone housing, I hope you'll come to Malibu Divers. I have a special offer for anyone who is attended this evening. So if you guys get an iPhone housing we have a limited number on hand right now, but we do have a bunch. And I think they're going to sell. I really do. And you'll be able to get a $50 store credit. But there's one catch. You have to provide some worthy video we can then post that you got your iPhone housing from us, and then you'll get a $50 store credit after we get the video. So, and then if you're interested in doing a rental program kind of thing, try it out. Please see me directly about that. We'll probably be doing that. It's probably going to be something like $35 a day, something like that. Okay. So, and that's all I've got. What questions do people have?
So I have some comments for you.
Sure, please.
Oh, go ahead. This is Jose. I'll back out and wait.
Okay. I'm done. I'm good.
Okay. So the first one is I have an iPhone 14. I shoot professionally part-time of photography with Nikon equipment. And I have to tell you, I love the i14, the 14 for taking pictures. It just does a good job almost all the time. I've even taken moonlight shots of my front porch, and the phone just does it.
Whereas you have to work a lot harder with your SLR camera.
Yes. In fact, I have been thinking about getting an underwater camera, and this could do the trick. Even if you get a brand new iPhone and don't hook it up to a cell phone, it's still and use the Oceanic housing, you get a really good camera. Plus the whole Apple ecosystem, plus the Oceanic app to help you manage all that data. I think it's going to be a very interesting trend, and I think the other guys are going to have to work to catch up. All they're missing is air integration, and as soon as they have that, then they're just going to kill people.
Yeah, I think so too. I want to remind you too, that, let's see if I can switch to it, share my screen. I'll give you one sec. We are, from folks that have begged me to do this, I finally succumbed to recording and posting. So if you are interested in going back and looking at this presentation or any other, you go to our channel on YouTube/users/Malibu Divers. And like you'll see, this is the one that Grant did on our lobster webinar. And then we have our sunken treasures in the Sudan and deep sea mining, which was excellent, by the way. And then we also have our Malibu artist one. So there's already 4 of our previous webinars that are on our YouTube channel. And you can rewatch them or go back and watch ones maybe that you've missed. And this one will be up there shortly. Okay. So Jose, I'm totally, yeah, I mean, it's like crazy. I swore I'd never have an Apple device, but I hope they come out with an Android version. I don't think it'll be anytime soon. But yeah, it's exciting. And I like what they've done. Yeah. And I don't think I'm going to buy an iPhone just to put it in the housing. Maybe, unless I get a good used one or something, maybe I'll do it that way.
Well, if you get a used 14 Pro, I think you'd be. I have friends who love their Android as well. For the camera.
So you're recommending the i14 Pro and just use it for taking pictures underwater and video.
Yeah, I think the retail on it right now is $750. The nearest underwater camera that I'm aware of that's in that price range is the is it the Minolta? It's the little red thing that I see. Like Selena had one. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah. So, I've used the Sea Life cameras a lot. The Sea Life micro camera I use now does photo and video. I've been very happy with it. So no argument. This is kind of a leap above that because it also does, even just the basic dive information is kind of cool. The price, I haven't mentioned, is $489.95 for the housing. Trust me, I have much more cameras and housings that are way more expensive than that. So, if you already have an iPhone, this is a really nice way to get going with underwater photo and video, for a pretty decent price.
Yes. Well,
I mean, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on lights and housings and cameras.
yes,
So
we have.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, we have a giant Nauticam housing with arms and everything.
Right.
That's a production.
Right. Which,
this thing, you just make sure to tether it properly, and hey, it's pretty nice.
it is.
Seriously, if you went out and just bought the pieces just so that you could have that functionality, it still comes in at less than $1,500, which is kind of amazing to me.
It is. I know. I mean, it's pretty exciting to think about what people can do now with cameras and housings and iPhones. And
I think you need to. I mean, I'm sure you've thought of it, but I think so that some of your DMs and instructors need to go out with these on their person.
well, I mean, if we put one in rental and it's not being rented, I'll send them out with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because, and I do the same thing when they do their dry suit training with me. If the dry suit's not in use, they're welcome to use that as well. So, I definitely see this as kind of the future for right now. And
yeah. Well, think of all the different things that if you go on a boat right now, on a one of those once a year far away across the world trip with a really nice camera, half your budget is going to be finding a way to get that camera delivered safely.
Right. No, you're right. I mean, so yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Anyway.
really good point.
Yep. Okay, so there are some gotchas with the Apple Ultra.
You're talking about the app itself?
No, with the phone, with the watch.
Yeah, that's like a whole nother, right? I mean, so it doesn't do air integration, right?
Right.
And that's huge to me. So, but it does do free diving, which is really important to me. So I like that it does scuba and free diving. Yeah. So, and personally, if I had to choose between the watch and the housing, wow, I would probably go with the housing. Because I'm already pretty happy with my dive computer. And
the thing that I like about the watch is it monitors my heart rate. So if you want to correlate fitness with what's going on, that's basically why I got the watch.
Yeah, and so it's more like a Garmin, I actually have heart rate on mine as well, but I have to wear the chest thing.
Yeah.
Is that what you have to do with yours?
No, my watch just monitors my pulse.
I see.
I actually wear it under my wetsuit.
Okay.
I don't use it for dive planning at all. That is one thing I'm slightly uncomfortable with, is that I've had Apple gear for north of 10 years, and once in a while it'll glitch, which is sort of not critical most of the time. I have never had my my dive computer glitch. And that's just one of those things that if people put all their eggs in this one basket,
right,
they might not be happy.
So, all I got to tell you is my philosophy has always been, if you don't trust your dive computer, and you feel like you need a backup, then you probably shouldn't be using it. I mean, computers have come a really long way. And since I've been diving for 30 years, I had some of the earliest computers, and I've only had one major dive computer failure, and that was probably over 20 years ago. And that was more of a maintenance thing. When I sent it in for maintenance, they hadn't closed the back of the dive computer when they replaced the battery completely. And it malfunctioned because the back of the computer got water in it, and it started giving me erroneous messages. So anyhow, and that's the only glitch I've ever had on a dive computer.
Right. So I love my dive computer, but your phone is a complicated system.
Yeah. And you have to be comfortable with your phone and putting it at risk potentially if something were to, maybe there's, but so far, like I said, because of the way they've designed it and the onboarding process, you can see it's pretty thorough. It walks you through steps.
Yeah, I don't think Oceanic software will give you any problems, but I'm sure your Android phone has misbehaved a time or two, like if you're driving.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to point out, is I don't think it's.
But if it's in airplane mode, it's very, very much less likely to glitch on me. It's usually because it's frozen for some other reason. Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like if it's in airplane mode, and plus I know that the onboarding process, it's checking that everything's working with the, between the pairing of the device, as well as it's checking, things on the iPhone and while it's doing the onboarding. I think it's pretty thorough, but nothing's perfect, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
All right, well, we're at 6 o'clock. I'm gonna stop the recording. And I really appreciate you guys being here.